The soft rustle of ancient oaks and the quiet dignity of stone manor houses have long served as the perfect backdrop for the inner workings of the world's most analysed family. In the heart of the picturesque British countryside, an event is quietly taking shape, carrying with it all the hallmark elegance of a classic societal gathering. Yet, beneath the polished veneer of high society, a delicate web of interpersonal dynamics is shifting, whispering a narrative of quiet choices and unspoken divides. It is an occasion designed for celebration, a moment meant to bring together generations under the banner of shared joy and new beginnings. But as the dates approach and the logistical puzzle pieces begin to fall into their precise locations, the true story is found not in who will be standing at the altar, but in the striking gaps left upon the parchment of the master guest list. Every choice made behind closed doors carries a profound weight, signaling to the world where deep-seated loyalties truly reside when the dust of public conflict finally begins to settle. In these exclusive circles, an invitation is far more than a simple gesture of polite inclusion. It operates as an unspoken declaration of allegiance, a quiet alignment that echoes much louder than any official press release ever could. As the anticipation builds for this upcoming gathering, the atmosphere has become thick with a unique blend of excitement and intense speculation, leaving observers to ponder the invisible lines drawn across a family tree that has weathered a relentless storm of public scrutiny. Before we look deeper into the fascinating mechanics of this country celebration and the subtle snubs that have set the media abuzz, take a quick moment to subscribe to our channel so you never miss an insider update on these unfolding stories.
Hello!
Magazine The upcoming nuptials of Peter Phillips to Harriet Sperling are being widely framed as a refreshing chapter of pure, unadulterated good news for a family that has endured a historically challenging period. Set against the serene, rolling landscapes of Gloucestershire, the planned ceremony at All Saints' Church in the quiet village of Kemble represents something deeply authentic, an intimate gathering that stands in stark contrast to the massive televised state spectacles of recent history. This is a private family milestone, a celebration of a mature, modern love story between the eldest grandchild of the late Queen Elizabeth II and a dedicated National Health Service nurse. The occasion highlights a beautifully blended modern family, weaving together their respective pasts into a unified future. The quiet preparations in the Cotswolds speak to a desire for simplicity, an afternoon where close friends and immediate relatives can gather away from the intense glare of international cameras to toast to genuine happiness. The air in the village is filled with the subtle hum of royal logistics, as local authorities and close confidants coordinate the arrival of the most recognizable figures in modern British life. King Charles III and Queen Camilla are expected to grace the chapel with their presence, taking a brief window out of their demanding schedules before travelling to the historic Epsom Derby later that afternoon. The Prince and Princess of Wales are also anticipated to join the congregation, bringing a sense of generational continuity to the chapel pews. For a family that has spent the last several seasons managing unprecedented health battles and structural transitions, this early June gathering is being viewed as an essential sanctuary of joy, a fleeting moment to simply breathe, smile, and celebrate the bonds that hold them together. Royal Central yet, despite the overwhelming desire for a seamless and uncontroversial celebration, the upcoming gathering cannot entirely escape the long, intricate shadow of historical family tensions. The true underlying narrative of the day has rapidly shifted from the bridal fashion and floral arrangements to a profound realization about who will not be walking through the doors of All Saints' Church. The revelation that Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, has been completely left off the guest list has sent shockwaves through royal commentary circles, transforming a private country wedding into a fascinating case study of modern familial estrangement. This omission was not an accidental oversight or a matter of simple geographic inconvenience. Rather, it represents a conscious, definitive choice that highlights the deep fractures remaining within the younger generation of the family. The logistics of organizing such high-profile events require months of meticulous planning, meaning every single name inscribed on an envelope is weighed with immense precision. By intentionally bypassing his cousin across the Atlantic, Peter Phillips has made a quiet but incredibly clear statement about where his deepest allegiances lie. Royal commentators have quickly noted that this decision acts as a natural, inevitable cooling off of a relationship that was once defined by childhood camaraderie on the manicured lawns of Balmoral and Windsor. The absolute silence from the Sussex camp in California, despite direct media inquiries, speaks volumes, highlighting the vast emotional and physical distance that now separates the self-exiled prince from the core members of his maternal family.
Hello!
Magazine The driving force behind this decision goes well beyond a simple lack of recent communication, tapping directly into the intense, unyielding, protective instincts that define the relationship between Peter Phillips and his first cousin, Prince William. As the eldest of the grandchildren, Peter has long occupied a unique, stabilizing position within the family structure, possessing a rare perspective that allows him to navigate the intense pressures of his heritage while maintaining a grounded, private life. Over the years, he has served as an incredibly loyal-sounding board for the Prince of Wales, offering a rare sanctuary of trust and absolute confidentiality during some of the most turbulent periods of William's public and personal life. When the devastating rifts began to tear through the brotherhood in recent years, Peter's loyalties did not waver. He has consistently chosen to stand shoulder to shoulder with the future monarch, fiercely protective of William's role, his family, and the heavy burdens he carries. Inviting the Duke of Sussex to an intimate country wedding where the Prince of Wales is set to play a central role would have immediately introduced a high-voltage current of tension into an atmosphere that requires absolute peace. The presence of both brothers in such a compact, private setting would have inevitably shifted the entire focus of the day away from the happy couple, transforming a celebration of marriage into an intense media circus, analyzing every shared glance, cold shoulder, and awkward movement. By prioritizing the comfort and peace of mind of the Prince of Wales, the groom has made it clear that some boundaries are simply non-negotiable when it comes to preserving the sanctity of family peace. The deliberate exclusion of the Duke of Sussex from the upcoming celebration at All Saints' Church underscores a far deeper reality than a simple passive drifting apart of two cousins over time. It represents an active, strategic preservation of a fragile peace within a family that simply cannot afford another public display of internal conflict. This high-profile invitation snub did not materialize out of thin air, nor can it be attributed entirely to the vast geographical divide between the quiet lanes of Gloucestershire and the sun-drenched coast of California. Instead, the root causes trace back to a sequence of highly public, highly intentional disclosures that forever altered the internal dynamics of the British monarchy. The publication of the explosive tell-all memoir, alongside a series of raw and unprecedented streaming documentary projects, effectively shattered the long-standing, unspoken code of absolute confidentiality that had protected the household for generations. For individual members like Peter Phillips, who has spent his entire life balancing his royal heritage with a completely private business career, these public revelations hit incredibly close to home. The intimate memories, personal conversations, and private texts that were laid bare before a global audience fundamentally shifted the level of trust within the family circle, making standard social interactions suddenly feel fraught with an immense amount of risk. When a family member chooses to commercialize the internal friction of their household, the remaining members naturally begin to build high protective walls around themselves, redefining who belongs in their inner circle and who must be kept at a safe, permanent distance. To truly understand why this dynamic has become so fiercely polarized, one must examine the specific role Peter Phillips played during one of the most agonizingly painful milestones in recent royal history. During the somber funeral proceedings for Prince Philip, the Duke of Edinburgh, in the spring of 2021, the world watched with bated breath as the two deeply estranged brothers walked behind their grandfather's coffin. It was a moment of immense national mourning, but the international media lens was focused entirely on the visible, icy distance between the Prince of Wales and the Duke of Sussex. Placed directly between the two warring siblings was Peter Phillips, intentionally positioned by family elders to act as a physical and emotional buffer, an older cousin stepping into the literal crossfire to maintain a veneer of dignified decorum. That walk was an incredibly heavy burden for the groom, a moment where he was forced to navigate the profound personal grief of losing his beloved grandfather, while simultaneously managing the volatile, explosive tension radiating from both sides. He had to serve as the ultimate peacemaker on a global stage, ensuring that the dignity of the monarchy and the memory of the Duke of Edinburgh were not completely overshadowed by a brewing family feud. The immense strain of that afternoon left an indelible mark on Peter, reinforcing a deep-seated determination that private family occasions should never again be hijacked by the unresolved psychological conflicts of others. In the long and tumultuous months that followed that somber walk in Windsor, a vast amount of water has flowed under the bridge, but the emotional wounds have clearly hardened into concrete boundaries rather than softening into forgiveness. The continuous stream of public grievances emanating from California served to solidify Peter's ultimate stance, shifting his perspective from that of a hopeful, neutral peacemaker to that of a deeply protective, fiercely loyal ally to Prince William. The Prince of Wales has had to endure an unprecedented level of personal and institutional pressure over the last few years, navigating massive structural changes within the monarchy while shielding his own young family from the ongoing fallout of his brother's public crusade. Throughout this challenging period, Peter Phillips has stepped forward as a steady, quiet anchor for William, providing a rare, unshakable sanctuary of trust where the future king could speak freely without any fear of future exposure or betrayal. This deep-seated bond of mutual respect and shared experience means that when it came time for Peter to plan his own wedding to Harriet Sperling, there was never any real question about where his fundamental loyalties would land. The comfort, peace, and emotional security of the Prince of Wales were prioritized above all else, ensuring that the future monarch could attend his cousin's wedding with his mind entirely at ease, completely free from the looming dread of an awkward, high-tension confrontation. The decision to completely bypass Prince Harry is now being widely praised by seasoned inner circle observers as a remarkably smart, highly pragmatic operational move that successfully shields the bridal couple from what would have been an absolute media catastrophe. Had an invitation been extended to the Duke of Sussex, the entire narrative surrounding the June 6th nuptials would have been instantly, aggressively derailed by global tabloid speculation. The true meaning of the day, celebrating a genuine, mature love story and a beautifully blended modern family, would have been completely obliterated by a relentless barrage of television cameras and journalists dissecting every single movement, glance, and subtle gesture between the estranged brothers. The media focus would have shifted entirely to whether William and Harry shook hands, whether they made eye contact in the church pews, or how far apart they were seated during the reception. For a couple like Peter and Harriet, who desire nothing more than a quiet, dignified day surrounded by their closest loved ones in the Cotswolds, this level of chaotic distraction would have been utterly nightmarish. The family has already endured an incredibly intense, emotionally draining year, filled with major structural transitions and private health battles, making the desire for a single day of pure, uncomplicated celebration an absolute priority. By firmly drawing this line, the groom has successfully reclaimed the narrative of his own wedding, ensuring that the spotlight remains exactly where it belongs, on the joy, the commitment, and the bright future of the newlyweds, as the final logistical touchpoints are locked into place for the weekend. The contrast between those who were warmly included and those who were left behind paints a highly vivid picture of the modern, restructured inner circle. The complete exclusion of the Sussexes stands out as a definitive sign of a permanent systemic shift, showing that the family is no longer willing to sacrifice its internal harmony for the sake of maintaining a false public appearance of unity. This upcoming gathering at All Saints' Church is designed to be an intimate, deeply personal event, a sanctuary of mutual support where every single guest in attendance is fully aligned with the long-term stability and peace of the household. The message being sent to the world is as quiet as it is undeniable. Those who choose to step outside the circle of trust, who choose to launch public broadsides against the institution and its members, will eventually find that the door to private family milestones has been firmly and permanently locked from the inside. The upcoming ceremony represents a profound moment of closing ranks, a collective decision to move forward into a new era, focusing entirely on the loyal, steady members who are actively showing up to support one another through the heaviest of storms, leaving the exhausting drama of past betrayals far behind in the rearview mirror. The gathering at All Saints' Church represents a deeply fascinating milestone because it showcases the remarkably modern, blended face of the family, a structure that reflects contemporary society far more than the rigid dynastic traditions of the past. At 48 years old, Peter Phillips approaches this new chapter of his life with a mature perspective, having spent decades navigating both the privileges and the quiet responsibilities of being the eldest grandchild of Queen Elizabeth II. Born to Princess Anne and Captain Mark Phillips, Peter has always occupied a unique, grounded position within the family tree. At his mother's explicit request, he was given no royal title at birth. A groundbreaking decision that allowed him to build a completely independent career in sports management and corporate consulting, while remaining a deeply loved, trusted member of the inner circle. His first marriage to Autumn Kelly, which began with a beautiful ceremony at St. George's Chapel in Windsor back in 2008, produced two cherished daughters, Savannah and Isla, who remain central to his world. When that marriage reached its amicable conclusion, the family demonstrated a remarkable capacity for graceful transition, maintaining warm relationships across the board. Now, as Peter prepares to exchange vows with Harriet Sperling, the celebration embraces a beautifully integrated family dynamic, as Harriet brings her own daughter, Eugenie, from her first marriage to Antonio St. John Sperling into this warm circle of mutual support. This blended architecture is precisely what makes the guest list so reflective of a progressive, supportive family unit, where past chapters are honored while new beginnings are celebrated with open arms. The presence of Peter's sister, Zara Tyndall, alongside her husband Mike, provides an unshakable foundation of sibling loyalty that has defined Peter's life since childhood. Zara and Mike have long been recognized as the energetic, relatable heart of the extended family, frequently seen bringing a sense of warmth, humor, and down-to-earth authenticity to both public balcony appearances and private country gatherings. Their three children, Mia, Lena, and Lucas, represent the vibrant younger generation that infuses these historic country estates with laughter and boundless energy. The expected attendance of the young Wales children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, further reinforces this sense of generational continuity, allowing the cousins to forge the same deep, lifelong bonds that their parents shared before the turbulent events of recent years. For Harriet Sperling, a dedicated pediatric nurse who has spent her professional career working on the front line of public health, stepping into this historic family circle is a profound transition. Yet her presence has been warmly embraced by the highest echelons of the household, symbolizing a deep respect for her commitment to public service and her stabilizing, joyful influence on Peter's life. The delicate balance of inclusion and exclusion extends to other branches of the family tree, offering a rare, telling glimpse into how the inner circle is navigating the complex fallout of past controversies. Among the most anticipated attendees are Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, marking a highly significant appearance with the core members of their family. The sisters have had to chart an incredibly difficult personal path over the last few years, maintaining their own quiet dignity and commitment to charitable cause while navigating the severe global fallout surrounding their father, the Duke of York, following his arrest and subsequent total withdrawal from public duties due to his high-profile ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Their presence at this intimate, private country wedding serves as a quiet, powerful confirmation that while official, public-facing roles within the working monarchy have been permanently restructured, there remains a steady, compassionate place for them within the private family fold. This distinction between official state functions and private family milestones is crucial. It allows the family to show internal solidarity and affection for the sisters as individuals, without entangling the public institution in the unresolved controversies of the past. Conversely, the expectations surrounding their parents, Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, the Duchess of York, tell a completely different story, with seasoned observers predicting their chances of attendance to be slim to absolutely zero. Given the catastrophic nature of the scandals that have permanently altered their standing, by examining the precise arrangement of this gathering, it becomes profoundly clear why the deliberate omission of the Duke of Sussex was a necessary structural decision to ensure the long-term emotional stability of the household. The family has collectively endured an extraordinarily demanding period marked by profound health challenges, including the courageous, ongoing medical battles faced by both King Charles III and the Princess of Wales. These deeply personal trials have naturally shifted the family's priorities away from managing public relations dramas and toward protecting their collective energy, focus, and emotional well-being. To have introduced the high-voltage, unpredictable element of Prince Harry's presence into this delicate environment would have been an act of institutional and personal irresponsibility, forcing individuals who are currently focusing their strength on healing and duty to navigate a minefield of unresolved grievances and intense media speculation. The modern face of the family is one that prioritizes genuine, reliable presence over historical obligation. It is an inner circle composed of those who actively choose to stand by the institution through its darkest hours, respecting the boundaries of privacy and mutual trust that keep a family secure, as the afternoon sun begins to cast long, gentle shadows across the historic stones of Gloucestershire. The story of this country wedding ultimately transcends the simple narrative of a high society marriage to reveal a profound truth about the evolution of the modern British monarchy. It shows a family that is no longer willing to compromise its internal peace or the emotional security of its future leaders for the sake of maintaining a hollow illusion of unity before the global media. The lines have been drawn with absolute clarity and precision, not out of malice or a desire for active conflict, but out of a fundamental protective necessity to safeguard the sanctuary of home and country life. The celebration for Peter Phillips and Harriet Sperling stands as a beautiful testament to resilience, a moment where a blended modern family can come together under the shelter of ancient trees, to toast to a bright, stable future built on a foundation of absolute loyalty, mutual respect, and unshakable trust. The empty spaces on the guest list will always remain a poignant reminder of the heavy price of public